GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
GUVI, a vernacular edutech brand, skilling everyone everywhere.
Hello and welcome to Galata Plus. In this video review episode, we're going to be talking about Rahul Sadasivan's deeply evocative Bramayugam. The film is not so much a horror movie as a movie about the timeless horrors of oppression. There is a thesis waiting to be written about the various shades of villainy embodied by Mammootty in his legendary career. There are too many to be listed, but in his 8th decade alone, that is, the actor just turned 72, we get the casteist bigot in Puru, the man with an endless appetite for revenge in Roshash, and now we get Kodumon Poti in Rahul Sadasivan's Bramayugam. And even this part harks back to one of Mammootty's greatest villains in Vidhayan. If that film's Bhaskara Patela, that's the Mammootty role, was a former village chief who is now living on his terrorizing reputation, Kodumon Poti appears to be a formal feudal landlord now confined to his traditional and decaying mansion. And the servant's part in Vidhayan is taken over by Arjun Ashokan, an oppressed caste singer named Tevan, who takes refuge in Kodumon Poti's home. Rahul's extraordinary earlier film Bhutakalam, and it's really extraordinary, was like Bramayugam, a haunted house movie. But though it was built with horror cinema tropes, Bhutakalam was really about how the past never leaves us, how the past is still present around us. That is, the repercussions of things done in the past are felt to this day. That's what the movie is about. The deaths that the father left behind haunt his wife and son like real ghosts. Bramayugam is a more literal ghost story. It actually has a chatan, a supernatural creature. But even here, the horror cinema tropes, I'll give you one. For example, a man hears noises in the attic and he goes up to see what's up there instead of running for his life. So these tropes are used in service of something larger. They're used to make the point that tyranny and oppression haunt our society and our culture like ghosts. And freedom from this tyranny and oppression requires not just strength and resolve, but also tremendous cunning. Also, power corrupts people no matter who they are. Bramayugam is set in South Malabar in the 17th century. The outline of the story is that Devan finds himself trapped in Kodumon Poti's mansion with just the cook for company. The first half is excellent. I mean, excellent. It is essentially a 3-character play with the atmosphere as opposed to events giving the sense of a horror movie. Mammootty is brilliant. He spells out horror without a single horror movie cliche. He is de-handsomized with stained prosthetic teeth and he plays the oppressor with very little fuss, at least at first. Initially, we just see him like a bored child who wants to play around with a new toy, namely Tevan. As the story grows, as the character is roused from boredom and inaction, as the tyranny and oppression begin to surface, the performance grows too. Arjun Ashokan has a rather one-note role. His back is slightly bent by his servility and he projects the character's confusion and fear very well in a series of extreme close-ups, though I wish Devan had been written with a few more shades, that he had been given a few more traits. But the film's surprise is the marvelously effective Siddharth Bharatan, who plays the cook as someone who knows he is trapped in hell and is therefore drained of all emotion. Even when the character faces life and death struggles, Siddharth Bharatan plays them like the outcome hardly matters. If he wins, then good, or else he has been living this way in this hell for ages, so what's going to change? Now, there are 4 other characters in the film. 1. Rahul's exquisite control of pace and atmosphere. 2. Shehnaz Jalal's sweeping black and white cinematography. 3. The various interiors and exteriors of the mansion. And finally, 4. Time itself. Like the word kalam in Bhutakalam, the word yugam in Bramayugam is a signifier of a certain kind of timelessness where past and present have melded into a world where, say, a game of dice is used to decide winners and losers, much like in the Mahabharata, in a different yugam. There is a pointed reference to the epic in a line. Upon meeting Devan, the cook doesn't ask, "What time is it?" What day is it? He asks, what month is it? That is the notion of time here, flowing endlessly like a river. Time in Bramayugam is measured not in hours and minutes and seconds, but by the graying of the beard of a young man whose only real possession is time. That's the only thing he can pawn in that game of dice. The characters are trapped in this timelessness, which is to say that the practices of tyranny and oppression have existed long before the story began and will survive long after the story ends. It will survive through different people wearing different clothes, and using different weapons. This is a tough narrative act, that is, to balance the abstractness of concepts like oppression with the concreteness of people we see in flesh and blood on screen. And the first half manages this marvelously. We see Kodumon Poti only when Devan sees him. After all, the oppressor takes shape only when there is someone to be oppressed. And then the games begin as Kodumon Poti lures in Devan as silkily as the spiders we see in their webs. The man's infinite boredom is temporarily alleviated by the arrival of this new prey. The constant rain is another form of oppression, and this is on the audience. We feel so suffocated that we practically squint at the sunlight at the end. The sound of the rain and the tap, tap, tap of a walking stick, these sounds may stay in your ears long after you exit the theatre. I wish Christo Xavier's coat had not been so big, and I wish the Yakshi played by Amalda Liz had something more to do, but a bigger issue is that some of the character dimensions are not clear. For instance, if a character knows how to subdue the Chatan, why hasn't he made an attempt earlier with the help of one of the earlier guests at the mansion? Or has he already done such a thing? Did he already make such an attempt and it's just that we are not made aware of it? If the Chatan is so all-knowing that it knows all about Devan's mother and background, then why does it not know anything about the cook's background, which is so important in this movie? Also, given that the physical body that the Chatan inhabits is aging rapidly, what happens when the owner of this body dies? Or are the Chatan's powers able to keep death at bay? Thinking about this, I wondered how cool it might have been to see a young man, like in the Dracula stories, only to realize that he's really thousands of years old. The bigger reveals come too early in the second half, after which the story has no surprises. Compare this with the much superior Bhutakalam, which made us wait until the very end for the reveals. So once we know how the Chatan is to be subdued, it is only a matter of time before the plans are put in place and nothing happens that we cannot already guess. The special effects become a tad too contemporary at this stage. Also, the idea that the Chatan is both oppressor and oppressed, I felt could have been explored some more. The last stretch, however, is lovely. It is an extension of the thought. It is an extension of the notion that power corrupts, and it shows you how deep and how far down into the social structures this corruption can seep into. That half smile at the end, it's chilling. As a filmmaker, Rahul Sadasivan is in full mastery over his material. In the deliberately paced first half, Rahul makes us feel the weight of time. We seem to be trapped in that house with these characters, with these people and that time that they're experiencing. And the shots are exquisite. As the year ends, I would be surprised to see a stretch of filmmaking better than the one where Devan tries to escape and is then brought back, in a manner of speaking. At the end of the stretch, he's prostrate, his weak body is hugging the ground, and as he looks up, the camera looks up along with him to see first the feet of Kodumon Poti. Another spectacular shot, the film's first overhead shot in terms of the characters, has Kodumon Poti looming over Devan. Rahul reverses the angle we typically see this kind of shot in. We usually see the characters from the front, that is, they are seen like this, but here the hint of the oppressor's back is enough. Put simply, Bramayugam is a heady mix of fine acting and fine filmmaking. That's it about Bramayugam. If you like this video review, do subscribe to Galata Plus and see you soon at the movies.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
GUVI, a vernacular edutech brand, skilling everyone everywhere.